Dear friends, David is here once again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, the Impertinent Collector, where I try to share with you my journey and the objects that have been accompanying me for years. Sounds interesting. Trust me when I say to you that collecting is both a sublime form of self-indulgence and a painful exercise in self-restraint. Of course, it's self-indulgence because surrounding yourself of objects that have a special meaning is an incredibly enriching experience. In the mornings, as I have my first coffee, or in the evenings, sipping some gentle herbal tea when the lights are soft, paintings, fabric, furniture, silverware, prints, rugs, and a myriad of objects, some tiny, some large, greet me, and they seem to compete for my attention. Look at me! Do you remember me? Do you recall the story of us being together? Do you remember when you picked me up and said to yourself, "That's it, I want this"? Objects that are connected to you somehow have their own way to talk to you. And yet, it is also a painful exercise in self-restraint because I lack the time to look for more objects. I don't have resources allocated to buy art. In many countries, I browse through commercial galleries and I wish I could buy some objects just to support the unknown artist, to keep him or her going, to show appreciation for their artistic output, and to a certain degree to financially reward the life choice. It's hard to be an artist and make a living out of your art. But I lived around the world, moving houses, which always force me to be selective every time I'm thinking to add something new. Frankly, it's not only a matter of affordability, but it's also a logistical battle, as I quickly rehearse in my head how to move it from the shop, market, gallery of my parents' house to my place in Sydney. Let me tell you, it's quite a challenge. But not for a moment I ask myself, do I really need it? Yes. Because if my wicked soul demanded, it's not for a desire to accumulate, but it's a desperate call to, if possible, elevate myself, and ultimately to strengthen the protective shield of my bubble, and to create a filter that rearrange the reality, sometimes brutal, sometimes depressing, that is waiting for us as we step outside, as we watch the news, as we commute to work, but also as I come to terms with the harsh fact of life, that the real bufala mozzarella from Italy is nowhere to be found in Sydney. that once again I'm late in paying my credit card, and that the home loan is due in just a week. Yes, those insignificant reality that comes to bite you. But it's also true that we live in a society that constantly reminds us to be strong in the face of adversity, that to succeed you must have an iron will, where you can't afford to be weak or brittle, where vulnerability and fragility need to be kept under wrap, where you need to be as durable as Teflon, as strong as steel. I stand here today in front of you, not really to share my own fragility and incredibly weak nature, but to share with you one of the most fascinating materials created by human ingenuity. Its constituents are both humble and abundant, is born out of fire. For the shortest time of his existence, he behaves like a fluid. For the rest of his life, is a miracle if he survived the winds of history. And for millennia, he came to require skills and endless creativity. Yes. There is nothing more versatile and challenging than glass. But before I take you to a non-chronological introduction to some of my beloved glass objects, I remind you that there are many ways in which you can support my creative endeavor. You can simply like this video and leave me a message. But you can also follow me on Instagram. The link is in the bio. You can go one step further and buy me a coffee following the link on my homepage. Or you can buy any of the t-shirts that are part of my shop and that, not so discreetly, appear during my videos. Sometime on top and sometime, like today, as I wear one, the Impertinent Collector. But now, let's discover the 6 glass objects that for years have been giving me pleasure and that I sincerely hope will keep my company for many more years. I start with something simple as a glass vial from 1830, nearly 200 years. It's called elixir of opium, a most dubious concoction of alcohol and opium, used as a popular analgesic in America and said to cure, among many other conditions, nervous irritability and hysteria. And no doubt, multiple members of my family would have benefited tremendously from taking regular doses of this miraculous product that you can see in this original bottle, stating elixir of opium. And the things that the pharmaceutical industry in America used to throw down your throat. 200 years ago. Not exactly sure things have changed. But this one is from Dr. McMahon's. And I have an original one given to me by my grandfather, who jokingly said, I wish I've known of this product the day I married my wife. That would be my grandmother. And then, with a cheeky smile, in his late 70s, as he gifted to me, he said, maybe you wish you have known this product to serve to your own mother. Oh, grandfather, you understood everything. This is one object. But now, what do I have for you? Now I have an object that has pure aesthetic value. It's just a fish with a bit of a gold leaf, but coming from one of the most sought after and respected glass furnace in Venice by master glassmaker Seguso. And this is a 1940-1930 glass of a fish. In fact, I consider this piece that I got from my mom alone because a friend of mine during unit saw it, and I promised that I would give it to her when she graduated. But alas, I left for London and I never seen this girl again. But just in case I get to see Adele one more, this now belongs to her. I'm just the custodian. What a generous spirit am I. I am indeed. But what else do we have apart from these two objects? Well, I got something else that is a classic coming from Venice once more. This time from the other extraordinary ancient furnace of Barovier and Toso. This is a set of handmade and hand-blown, like everything you have here today, made of glass with a tiny sprinkle of gold. All handmade, all hand-blown in the furnace, on the fire. And I have 12 large ones for the water and 12 smaller ones for the wine. And I got it from my mom, and many times my parents and her guests were able to drink from these glasses in one of the many parties that my parents used to throw at home in Italy. Those were the days when my dad would give me a monthly allowance and all I had to focus was to be the least disrupting version of myself. It was quite an exercise. And now, again, something else from Venice. Once they started opening up the few surviving furnaces to Italian artists who wanted to experiment with the material of glass. And so this one, 1970, 1980, is from a friend of my auntie, Julie, who was an artist, and he had a solo exhibition in Venice with all his pieces, and my mom bought one. And so you can see a solid piece of glass that has been expanded with all these elements on the inside and the stamp of the artist himself. A wonderful, wonderful object, rather heavy, that I brought with me around the world, as you do when you move from London to Dubai, from Dubai to Taipei, from Taipei to Sydney. Yes, that has been my journey from Italy to Australia. And now I'm taking you to one of the center of fashion and design, certainly in Italy, with a massive reputation. Today, we are going to Milan, where in the 1960s, two extraordinary figures of design, created a lighting company called Artemide, 1960. And this is one of the early pieces that they came up from that factory in Milan. The glass was, in this case, once again made in Venice, and as you can see, it's hand blown, and he has some sort of a foggy effect on the inside. And I have to tell you one day the story how I got this one in an antique market in Avignon in France, probably like 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and how I was able to bring it back all in one piece, intact, to Sydney, Australia, traveling in the cargo. The risk you take for the things that I love. And this one was quite expensive, because this one truly is a collector item, my incredible Artemide lamp. But now I want to leave you with one last object that somehow signifies the symbolic nature of glass and a necessity, but also a dilemma that is a philosophical conundrum that has trapped mankind since the beginning of time. Because here I have something that is not that old. It's a 1930 hourglass. But this hourglass really signifies the passage of time. It signifies that every single grain of sand is each one of us, that from the top goes to the bottom. Is a cycle that gets repeated over and over again. And in fact, the hourglass were first documented in Egypt in the 16th century BC. Extraordinary. We think that now we are so preoccupied with time and with schedules meeting, and the most efficient people divide the day in blocks of 15 minutes. Well, the Egyptians apparently had that need to divide the time in small measures. And so, incredible how all these objects have survived. And so, ask yourself, in the hourglass of your life, where are you? Is this half time? Can we stop the time and get the incredible symbol of infinity? Well, that is one of the questions, one of the many questions that are at the center of our existence. Can we revert the passage of time, and so that from the bottom we can go up again, us perpetually trapped in this incredible material that is glass? And seriously, guy, I share all these objects with you, and you say that you can't appreciate the creativity that comes with the creation of a t-shirt like this. But here I am, your impertinent collector.